First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello everyone, this is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. As always, thank you very much for joining us. We are live streaming here out of the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom, as we do every weekday. Starting around 1 p.m., we go throughout the afternoon, and we cover a wide range of topics. Today, this segment, we're covering kind of two different things here. Number one, as most people probably know, if you're watching live, yesterday, Ozzy Osbourne passed away. The metal icon and legend, lead singer of Black Sabbath, an incredible solo career. And as we, if you are a fan, you know, and you probably, if you're not, you probably know somebody who is. And he had a huge influence on rock and roll. It just so happened that today I was also going to be speaking to some more rock legends, Def Leppard. Joe Elliott and Phil Collen, the lead singer and guitarist there of Def Leppard, actually joined me earlier today to talk about their residency in Vegas. It's going to be starting in February, but since the timing of this worked out like that, we of course brought up Ozzy Osbourne as well. So we spoke to Joe and Phil about Ozzy. So this interview, you're going to hear about the residency at first and just Def Leppard, the band, and then we'll get into the Ozzy side of things after that. We also have some local reaction as well, which of course, like I said, far-reaching as far as some of that and how that affected a lot of people. So let's go ahead and jump right into this now. Great to have you guys on here. I just want to say off the top, huge fan. Want to talk about this residency. So going there to Vegas, the Coliseum, Caesar's Palace, you guys have spent years touring on the road, changing cities every night. What are the biggest things, for you when you do these kinds of residencies? What do you have to do differently just as a band to prepare? Is it a lot easier since you're just going to the same place, or is it a little bit different for that side of things?
It's just very different. The size of the stage, the fact that you can actually hone the show. So it becomes more of a show than a gig, if you know what I mean. It's like all of a sudden you're actually working towards something, and like an actor when he does say 3 seasons of the same character, you can actually kind of work and build on that character. There's a little bit of that going on with that. We change the set list out. That there's going to be people come from all the way around, so it's not going to be the same every night anyway. But you just work it. It becomes very different, but in a really good way as well.
And when you're talking about someplace like Vegas in particular, there's a lot of distractions, obviously, that could happen. But, what do you do to maintain your focus while you're down there in someplace like that?
Well, it's easy, really, because we're there to work. So, but at the same time, it is Vegas. It is the entertainment capital of the world. So there are plenty of things to do on your day off. We can, how many other bands or, shows are on in Vegas at the same time as us? Thousands, probably, or at least hundreds, So we have to make sure that when we're doing our show, we're doing something that wants to bring them away from those people to come see us. It's very competitive, but at the same time, we know how to manage ourselves bodily to make sure that we do these shows well every night. So being in the one building for a month changes the way that you approach it, and you'll maybe change up the set list on a nightly basis. And then when you're not on stage, it's Las Vegas. So, it's a fun place to be for a month. And that's the exciting thing. The important thing is doing the show, but you're not going to be bored when you're not doing the show. So the whole experience for us is going to be pretty hectic, but really entertaining and fun,
Yeah, the last time we were there, I saw Jackson Brown and Cher on the same day, on the same night, on a day off. So you can do stuff like that, which is kind of wild.
Yeah, that's crazy. You're right. There's all these other shows going on, but for you guys, your show, your performance, all these years, still incredible, and still have all of these fans. As you mentioned, people are going to be coming from all over the place to see this residency. So what do you think it is just about the Def Leppard show, about the Def Leppard songs, and about the Def Leppard experience that brings people back and has people so enthralled with your music?
Well, the songs are kind of iconic as well. They're bigger than we are. but they do. They have this reaction when you play, like, say, I Pour Some Sugar on Me, or Hysteria. We've seen people burst into tears, you know, for whatever reasons, and that keeps happening. Also, we keep progressing and getting better. Like, we're better singers, we're better players, we're better as a band. And people notice that when they come and see it, like, oh my God, I didn't think it could get any better. But we really put the time and the work in to do that, you know. Joe will warm up like 3 hours. Actually, a couple of years ago, he warmed up 8 hours one day when we went from LA to San Diego. Yeah, because it was 2 in a row. And that's kind of crazy. Obviously, not every single night, but there's a lot of energy, effort, and care goes into it. And I really think people do appreciate that. That's what we're seeing off of our fans, you know.
Yeah, putting in that effort for that show. Like, you can see that when it's on stage. Okay, warming up for 8 hours. I got to ask, what do you do to warm up for 8 hours? How does that work?
Well, what it's over an 8-hour period. What you do is you wake up in the morning knowing full well you've just busted it last night in LA, and then you've got industry people that want to come and shake your hand, and you're talking for another 3 hours. You wake up and you sound like Tom Waits, and then you have to. So I'm on a bus driving out of San Diego, and you wake up, put a kettle on, have a cup of tea, and then I've got an exercise tape with a fantastic vocal coach called Roger Love, and I just do this dee 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 stuff, and you go up and down the scales with different sounds, and you go, oh, it didn't sound so good. So then you take a break, and then you go and make another cup of tea, and then you just keep doing it till you get to the venue, and your voice just wakes up. It's just like stretching your muscles. You know, when you see soccer players or whatever on the side of the pitch, they're about to come on, they stretch because they don't want to pull a muscle. That's all I'm doing, you know, and it's what I had to do to get on stage, and it worked. So it's no skin off my nose. I mean, I had nothing better to do. I mean, my focus every time we do a gig is the hour and a half, 2 hours that we're on stage. So whatever I have to do to prepare, sometimes I don't have to warm up at all. But on that particular example, and I just woke up in a bit of a kind of on the back foot, and I had to make sure I could get onto the front foot for 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night.
So you get from Tom Waits to Joe Elliott. So that's what it is. Took 8 hours.
Exactly. I had to get up 2 octaves in 8 hours. It was hardcore, but I got there.
That's awesome.
The easy part, going Joe Elliott to Tom Waits. That's an easier kind of journey.
Yeah, I can figure that one out.
You've got to go up the hill, you know, skiing uphill.
Well, for the show, you know, let's talk about this, the residency. You know, for people who are going to be coming out, you mentioned your show's going to be different each night. What is it that you want the fans to take away from that experience at the residency?
You have to make it different, because if they've travelled, and if they've travelled before, or you've been there, you know, in the last couple of years, you have to make it different. So the songs will be different. The whole production, like all the screens and lights and everything like that, and yeah, different songs, different ways of doing songs. We've definitely got some surprises that we want to lay on some people. So yeah, it'll just be great. It's always exciting.
And it's a whole new stage set as well. That's the beauty of it. We're building a stage set specifically for this Vegas residency. So it's not just we're bringing this touring thing, and you know, this show that we're doing right now, traveling around the country, will be the last time anybody sees this. So when we get to Vegas, it'll be a whole new production.
That's amazing. I do have to ask really quick, you know, just with Ozzy obviously passing yesterday, you know, and like millions of other people, huge fan of Ozzy, changed music. But for you guys, you know, knowing him personally and just, you know, being in Britain and starting your band, you know, with some of that Sabbath and Ozzy influence, you know, how much of an influence was Black Sabbath and Ozzy on you when you started out?
Well, I mean, it was there. I remember seeing Black Sabbath on the Sabbath 4 tour. Actually, it was Ozzy, and Black Oak, Arkansas was the opening act at the Rainbow Theatre in London. Tommy Aldridge was actually the drummer in Black Oak, Arkansas, and he's opening up for Sabbath, and obviously years later he's in Ozzy's band. So he obviously saw something in him back then, but it was great. You know, it's like we grew up like Zeppelin, you know, Purple, Sabbath, and all of that stuff, and it was just mind blowing. Like I said, I was so glad to see that Sabbath that early, and then obviously years later, you know, tour with Ozzy. You know, I was in a band called Girl, and we were on the same record label as Ozzy, and that's where he met Sharon. So yeah, it went back right there, and you know, Randy Rhoads, Rudy Sarzo, Tommy Aldridge. It was just wonderful, and then obviously Def Leppard toured with that same band on the Blizzard of Oz tour in the US, and yeah, we actually would be connection with each other all the time. We'd be in contact. So yeah.
He was
That's
a
amazing.
lovely guy. Sharon, great manager for him. And, you know, I don't think that Sabbath were a huge influence on Def Leppard, but we were big fans, still are, you know. It was more a case of like we just happened to be blessed with the opportunity, both Phil's band at the time and Leppard, to tour with Ozzy and to just experience their enthusiasm and how nurturing they were towards us. You know, a lot of headline bands, they'll kind of stamp on an opening act by not letting them have sound checks or giving them no lights. Ozzy gave us the full stage, lights, sound checks, everything. They wanted us to succeed. And so there's always been a lot of love between their camp and ours. And it's just very sad, but I'm really happy he got to do that final show in Birmingham just 17, 18 days ago. I think he was ready after that. I think he'd said all he had to say.
Yeah, I mean, what more of a rock and roll way to go out than have a show like that? I mean, if it's got to happen.
Definitely.
It's amazing. The love towards Ozzy, you could see. I mean, we were doing our own show, which is why we couldn't be there. Sharon did ask if we could do it, but we sent a message instead, you know, that they put on the screens. But we were keeping an eye on it on YouTube, and you could even tell through a laptop how much love there was heading towards that stage when Ozzy sat in that throne. It was kingly. It really was. It was like watching the King of Rock, you know, getting worshipped by his loving audience, and I felt really happy for him. I'm glad he got to do it.
Well, that's amazing, and you know, Joe, Phil, thank you for everything that you do too. You know, for this, for continuing to perform, for your fans, for everything. This residency coming up. I know I'm probably out of time here, but I want to say thank you to both of you for joining me here today. You know, for talking about this and just sharing your music with everybody.
Thank you.
A pleasure. Thanks so much.
All right. Again, a huge thank you to Joe and Phil there from Def Leppard. And I want to specify, too, so their residency at the Coliseum is going to be February 3rd through the 28th, 2026 at Caesar's Palace. And tickets are going on sale on Friday. You can pick those up for them. And I appreciate them joining in. Just talking about Ozzy. And that's one of those things that, you know, again, if you're a music fan, it hit people in a lot of different ways. And talking about that last show, we do have just a little bit of reaction here also from some local people talking about Ozzy Osbourne.
I learned like my first guitar riff from, you know, Black Sabbath, so it's impacting everyone.
I cried. I got sick to my stomach, you know, so we figured let's put on a little gig tonight, play some records, Ozzy and Black Sabbath exclusively. So I think we're really going to shake the pillars of the Ozcropolis tonight.
So, the Ozcropolis, I like that. I like that term. So, yeah, again, you know, big moment for rock and roll, but a lot of people talking about it and sharing their experiences in different ways as far as it comes down to that. And sometimes, you know, maybe it's not for everybody, but for a lot of people, it's a pretty meaningful thing. But yeah, thank you for joining us here for Fox 12 Now. I appreciate you tuning in, and whatever platform you're on, whether you're watching live, after the fact, whichever that case may be. We are live here every weekday at 1 o'clock, and sometimes more times than that actually throughout the day, but you can certainly rely on 1 o'clock. And you can use that Fox 12 Oregon app. That's a great way to watch us, or kptv.com, or even our YouTube channel, however you're finding us. Just thanks for doing so. If there's ever breaking news in the afternoon, this is the place to go as well, because we'll have you covered on that. But for right now, I'm going to sign off. I'll talk to you soon. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.